following program is maintained to this correction, and each user has no responsibility for the content or opinions expressed therein.
You get today?
The statewide last meeting. That's the joke.
Is that the one? Is that correct? Did you try it in the room over here?
Yeah, it's,
But can you move on pretty quick so that...
Is that the mic too?
Yeah.
Or you got the whole setup?
yeah,
Is that really about $100?
yeah.
Yeah.
What the guarantee is like 107.
What's it working over?
Well, when you got one, Lou, if you
Oh,
want.
okay.
It will be.
You got one?
It's voice activated, so it stops the safe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
cool.
great. It's a great setup. Someone should have had one thing,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah.
I kept talking about it, but it didn't do no good.
Well,
Okay, I'll take and call the town board meeting for May to order. I get my agenda here. Can you join me in saluting the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Supervisor James Beth.
Here.
Counselors Lance Knapp. Rose Anthony here. Anthony Cabone.
Here.
Vincent Greco.
here.
Highway Superintendent Ray Marshall.
Here.
Budget Officer Robert Lehman.
Here.
Right here.
Oh,
A motion concerning the minutes, please.
I make a motion, we dispense of the previous minutes.
Accept them?
I'll second it.
Do you want to accept the minutes?
Do we want to accept them?
Do you want to accept the minutes? You got to read the title. Be all set. Number 2.
Motion to dispense with the reading of the previous minute and accept them as written.
Thank you. And a
I'll
second to
second
it? Any discussion? There not being any? All in favor?
aye.
All right.
Opposed? Unopposed, Madam Clerk. Under communication and petitions. A letter received from the Greater Fulton Neighborhood-Based Initiative expressing their displeasure over the recent funding amount awarded under the Division of Youth Development Initiative project. And that was a copy one that was sent to the state of New York and along with one from the town of Granby. The New York State Office of State Controller has notified the town of an informal hearing to be held May 16th in New York City. The purpose of this hearing is to solicit input from local governments and other involved parties regarding proposed amendments to the security regulations governing the purchase and sale of municipal securities. This relates to municipal securities, bonding items and so on, and indebtedness of over $1 million, and we don't have that kind of activity in the town. Lonely Councilwoman Claudia Smart sent the Granby Town Board a copy of a letter she wrote to the Palladium Times outlining certain facts in regard to the annexation issue between the city of Fulton and the town of Valney. And just explaining her position. Information received from the New York State Department of Economic Development regarding the recycling investment program, and it's available if the board members want to review it. It really is involved in something more to do with the county's role in the towns, since the county has an investment in recycling, and they're trying to find buyers for the materials they have coming in. The resource center down at Valney. Assemblywoman Fran Sullivan sent a news release announcing the revised fee structure for the use of locks and lift bridges along the canal system. The new user fees will be effective with the opening of the 1994 navigation season this May. They're on file here if someone wants to see them. You can also get them at different places on the locks. the fees schedule and the ability to buy the fees. New York State Department of Transportation sent a letter notifying us that due to the New York State budget not yet being passed, this year's quarterly chips and O&M payment for April will be delayed. Upon approval of the state budget, the last quarter check will be expedited and will be notified of the anticipated payment dates for the remainder of the year of 1994 and 95. That's in relationship to the fact that the state of New York hasn't passed their operating budget. New York State Division of Equalization and Assessment sent notification to the town they were once again ineligible for maintenance aid as our application for 92 failed to meet one or more of the critical standards governing the program. And that's a difficult one because there's several parts of the criteria that have to be met. And as far as I know, that they've made every effort to meet them, but there's one that says you have to be within 15% on your assessments per annum, within 15% to receive the money against what the sales were on all the properties in which you assessed them at. And that's a difficult thing to do. The board also received a copy of the New York State Board of Equalization Assessments 1993 annual report, which was forwarded to the assessor's office, and it just told some of the areas they got involved with, such as the utilities and the railroad assessments, which we have, that they negotiate for us, and other things that they have accomplished. Does anybody else have any other communication? There is none. I'll go to old business. Seward County Public Health Department sent a letter notifying the town of the complete arrangements for employee rabies shots. 4 town highway employees will be receiving the series of 3 shots at a cost of $174 a person. And we've got 4 individuals that are employees that will be going. Our dog control officers have already been administered those shots, and the highway department is the area that we're having people take the series of shots. And that'll be set up at a future time. We have a recommendation from the planning board for Mr. Carl Nyland, Mr. Bill Jones, and Elsie Massett to serve as members of the steering committee that was developed by the town board. The environmental board would have Ron Kukowski, and the ZBA board would have Lauren Shustic and Chairman Henry Wilcox, and the town board would take and have chairing the committee would be Vince Greco, and serving on it with him the town supervisor in the proposal. Could I have a motion to appoint the steering committee individuals I named? There'll be just 2 from the planning board at any one meeting. There won't be 3.
Correct.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept these people for the steering committee.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second for the approval of names that I've outlined for the steering committee. Any other discussion?
Are we, Jim, are we under the impression that they're not going to get paid for these meetings?
I think that will be the intent, if we can arrange that.
We'll ask about it, right?
Because the last meeting we had, I see people put bills in there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we weren't going to do it yet. We were going to see how it went first.
Well, that's my understanding too, but they put the bills in for the members of the planning board that were there.
Yeah.
So, any other discussion on that?
Who's on the planning board? Bill Jones?
Carl Nyland, Bill Jones, and Elsie Massett would be the members that are appointed, but the only two who will serve at any one time. They just wanted to cover someone in case someone couldn't be there.
Right.
Is it gonna be understood then that they don't get paid?
I'm going to advise them.
We're gonna bring that up, Tony.
Well, I see bills, when I see bills in there, I see it wasn't brought up, or there wouldn't be bills in there.
Well, I mean, that was, when we had the work session the other night, we discussed that. That was gonna be one of the things about seeing if you'd be willing to serve at no pay.
Town board has a right to refuse any of those bills.
Right. That'll be part of the agenda,
Right.
okay?
All right.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, Madam Clerk. We had a table from last month on Niagara Mohawk's proposal for us on the change of our lights from mercury vapor to precious sodium. And the end result would be that we would take and have a projected annual saving of $351 on the electrical costs for the lights if they were changed. And we didn't understand exactly if they would charge for the service of changing them. And I checked with the service representative in Fulton, and I happened to get there right after they closed the office, so it's kind of hard to check with Niagara Mohawk, but we made it through, I guess. But anyway, there's no charge to make that change, so what I need is a motion from the town board to agree to have that change made, and they'll proceed at some time in the near future to do that.
And how much was we gonna save annually again?
$351.
But there's no, like you just said, there's no charge to
No service charge for changing them.
change it out.
Yep.
So, very beneficial then in our opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll take and save us some money in the long run, and otherwise we're having a problem because they're upping the rates anyway, so when we say we're saving something, probably next year's budget will have to reflect the change increase anyway.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded for the change of the lighting in the several districts, the General Town District and the Willabot District. Any other discussion? None. Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, Madam Clerk. We had a discussion as to the Hoffman, Ireland property next to access road to the gravel storage site to the east of Route 8. And after reviewing it, the town decided they would not accept the proposal from Mr. Hoffman due to the fact that Mr. Ireland's property would be going further east. It wouldn't be part of a improvement. Mr. Hoffman has offered to do something different, and I think the board will have to discuss that and determine whether or not they want to consider another proposal. But at this moment, it wasn't acceptable to the board. I offered an opportunity to explain the legality of the 30-day deadline we put on for renewal of expired special use permits for the purpose of soil mining. And the decision of the board was not to do with the permits per the approval of permits, because that's a ZBA function. It was the fact that the town board was not going to take any legal action on anybody that reapplied for their special use permit within that 30 days. Anybody have any questions about that statement? All I was doing is clarifying that's what we accomplished. I've had this on the agenda a couple times. We haven't responded to the planning board's letter of 3/2/94 on their mining amendments that we had received and commented on and forwarded to the planning board for their with direction for the board to react to and develop some new amendments to be considered by the town board. I don't know if anybody wants to take and get into that or not, but
Well, won't that be one of the first things, besides the no pay issue, won't that be one of the first things we'll have a draft, a steering committee will look over something that could be proposed to the town board? That's what we discussed in our work session even.
well, yeah, there'd be possibly a draft to take and review by the steering committee, but I'm still concerned about the fact that we got a response and the response hasn't been taken and looked at by the town board, and a reaction of the town board to their to our request for and direction for amendments.
Right.
The problem I have is that the planning board is the delegated responsible unit of our government that has to provide those amendments. The steering committee will take and look at some information here, but again, they won't be the end of all the problems. We have to take and have something in front of the town board to review and propose in some manner to handle the problems that have arisen.
Right, Jim, if they got that proposal that they had, and the steering committee looks it over, we can go through, well, we don't, like we discussed, well, we don't think they'll go for that, that's outrageous. We can sort of get something, then it could be proposed to the whole town board and proposed back to the whole planning committee, and
Well,
planning board.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just to get a little face-to-face communication between the boards.
well, you'll have face-to-face, one-on-one communication possibly with two members of each board. But again, the primary responsibility laid out in our zoning amendment is the direction to the planning board to develop amendments. And I just have a feeling of somewhat of despair in a sense, because I know I have been waiting patiently to get on with this situation we have. And in November of 1993, I advised the board that the one way to do this would be to take and have new amendments proposed and go through the procedure developing public hearing and having those amendments adopted. In the interim, there was an effort to create a moratorium, which hasn't resulted in a final completion, nor do I have after 6 months, and that's where the total time of the moratorium was intended to be, nor do I have anything in front of the town board for amendments. Now, I have other agencies of the town, particularly the assessor's office, the justice office, the highway department. I have other agencies that in the town government that have to meet deadlines. And I just think that it's a responsible activity that we should have something in front of us. Now, if the steering committee is the answer to all this, that's all well and good. But I think that the summation of the amendments will be result of the 7-man planning committee providing the input to the town board for the town board's presentation to the citizens of the town at a public hearing for a improved zoning ordinance.
I think the last part of your statement is correct, but I think that one proposal, whatever you prefer to call it, that they've got, I understand, about 99% ready. If the steering committee looks it over and it looks halfway decent, we could put a few wees and ahs or whatever's necessary, and then can go back to the full board, and maybe by next month, we could have something right here to vote on.
Well, next month is the end of your, the 60-day
Oh, I
moratorium
know, I'm
period.
just, you know.
Okay, just as long as everyone understands.
That's the only thing I can suggest right now, myself personally, unless
Okay.
somebody else got something else to suggest.
Just so everyone understands that the activity that's taken place, okay, is in my opinion, is the town board's awaiting the consideration of some ordinances changes. And just as soon as that comes to us, we'll take and make some decision as to how we prevent
What
that.
Vince is trying to say is, every time we got a planning board to you, you send it back and forth. It's been going on for 6 months, back and forth. This group here should just sit down. It won't be passing back and forth, back and forth. It's just that this group will take care of the planning board's request.
All right, as long as everyone understands that the steering committee doesn't have any authority other than the fact of review
They just
In
put
in
it,
some manner,
Right.
that's
okay?
right, it'll come back to the town board and the
It's
grant.
just like now, aren't you going through a proposal with our attorney to try to set up some type of fees to file on our special use permits? I mean, that's something that isn't really addressed 100% in our zoning. It's got a flat rate of $125. Somebody says that's not correct. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting on another vein, so I'll leave it go.
Well, if everybody understands where we're at, that's all I'm interested in. I just want to make sure that everyone's aware that what we have to have the town board is something to react to.
All right,
Right.
I'm hoping, Jim, that these
Okay.
half a dozen people can get something, and
They have to draw up a draft to the town board. When
The
when
planning
they
committee-
come up with something, they have to give us a draft, and then the town board acts on it.
Okay.
We all understand it.
Okay, good. Anybody else have anything else on the road business? Under new business, Mr. Joseph and Francine Latino sent a letter to the town board requesting a cancellation of water charges on Snug Harbor Estates due to the fact the city of Fulton will not grant water to their property. The circumstances is that Mr. Latino and Mrs. Latino have purchased some property on the east side of Route 48, and they have gone through the procedures for site plan approval for a subdivision. And during that process, a request was made. It was possible to get public water supply to their property. And since that hasn't happened, they would like to take and have a determination they don't have to pay for services to their property off the 48 South Water District. In reality, this 48 South Water District is anything within 500 feet east or west of the highway, Route 48. Their property has X number of feet of frontage on Route 48 South. They're being assessed for that X number unit of property for a unit of, well, I won't say a unit, but they're being assessed for by a pre-planned rate for their privilege of being on the water district. So we don't have any choice in the matter of denying or relenting on the service bill, because the service bill is just strictly the fact that they're in the water district on the first 500 feet along 48 South. So we'll send them a letter back to that fact. Unfortunately, we have no way of providing water for that subdivision because we haven't got anything from the city of Fulton that would allow us to extend into their property.
Jim, it's my understanding, though, if he had bought the property and just gonna build, you know, normally the 500 feet off the road, say one house, then he would get his water from the city.
Yep.
The city would have to give it to him.
Within the 500 feet boundary.
Right, okay.
In other words, if he builds houses on that 500 feet, he can tap into the water, right?
Yes. But he has no property that's that big. He has just, if I recall, he's only got a right-of-way on the north end of his property, and another access area a little further down off of Route 48.
Did you ever find out why the city of Fulton didn't give him water? Did you ever find out?
Well, the city of Fulton hasn't any policy, and when the city of Fulton finally gets a policy, they may be available to them. It's too bad because it should have been done during the planning and development stages to provide the service. We're still up in the air on that. We've been since January 12th again with the city of Fulton.
Jim, is well-informed people telling me that Fulton's not going to give Granby any water under this administration. Is this true?
Well, you know, how far you want me to go? I don't know how long this administration is going to survive.
This is what they've been told, the people that really on the inside, you know. In other words, on our Hannibal thing over there, apparently they have no idea, they'd have no intention to give any water there.
Well, they have a responsibility up the Chase Road, whether anybody wants to do it or not. They're already providing water there. I can't tell you because I haven't had an opportunity to talk with the leadership there. We have requested information from them, but haven't received any yet, so I can't tell you.
I've been telling you
Well,
I've gone through 4 mayors, I've told you this, you're not going to get it.
Well, you're not going to get any under this one, from what I understand.
Well, didn't get it in the past either.
Well, we'll probably get the, you know,
It's coming.
we
It's
may
coming.
get the half the city back. Who
Right,
knows?
Mr. Best? It's coming, it's
I
coming.
would think so.
It's coming.
But they may just, you know, may get to a point where you get half the city back. I don't know. Right? They got to put it someplace.
No, not right.
No,
Uh,
no.
that's the only new business I have. Anybody else have any?
Well, I think it's a shame that the city of Fulton wants the town of Granby to work with them, and they don't want to work with us. I think we've donated to Lake Neowana, we've donated here, we've donated there. Why aren't they working with us? Why did they come to Granby for help then?
Well,
This EDZ thing, well, forget it. This is
Well-
my opinion. If they don't want to work with us, and it's been years that they won't give us water,
well,
why do we work with them?
my assumption is, and I guess it's a bad word to use, is the fact that at some time there'll have to be someone coming around understanding why they should have to work with the town of Granby and the town of Olney. And how they're going to work it out, I don't know.
I'm asking you, Jim. You're the one that keeps saying it's coming, it's coming.
Well, I haven't given up on the fact that the city of Fulton is going to need the resources of the town of Granby.
Listen, we've needed water here since I've been here, and this is my second 6 year, and we've needed it.
Well,
We've needed it in our
but
business
wait
district.
a minute. You've had extensions of services with water. You know, things that had to be done have been done. The last 3 years, particularly, or 2.5 years particularly, has been pretty high adventure in Fulton. No, I don't think anybody has any exact idea what's going to happen. So, I guess until something more reasonable comes out of Fulton's activities, you're caught in one of two choices: either decide that you're not going to deal with them anymore and look for some other sources of water, which would be Metropolitan or Onondaga County. Once the board decides that that's where you're going to go, then that's what you would do.
What I'm saying is, we have bent for the city of Fulton. We've cut their North Bay taxes down. We've cut their taxes way down. We've donated to Lake Neowana cleanup. What else did we donate? I mean, we're donating and donating. We're doing, and
Well,
It's just not working out. It's just not, this one-way street doesn't, this is not my, what was it somebody says? Here comes Claudia Smart's sister the other day. Maybe
Well,
I'm
I
looking
think
out
that-
for the people in Granby and Granby.
I don't know exactly what the answer to Fulton problems are, but I do know that if you tried to develop water sources and sewer sources independent of the city of Fulton, you're talking about major expenditures. And I don't think that that's a reasonable thing under the circumstances. I think that sooner or later, somewhere along the line, someone down there is going to take and make a recognition that they have to provide water, and the sewer goes back a long time. I think it'll all come down to a situation where financially the city of Fulton will finally have to make some decisions with their neighbors.
I'm not getting through to you.
You are, I'm just not going to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
We asked
Rose,
for
anyone
water, we asked for water 2 years before the Kmart, and we got turned down, and then Kmart comes up, and they could get water and sewer, and Granby still is left nothing.
Well, they don't have a long-term goal. They don't have a long-term plan. So how are you going to take and?
Our Route 3 business
Yeah.
district needs water and sewer. That's the main thing, is our business district down on Route 3, and I've been asking for this for two.
And you've
Jim's
got,
been trying to
and
do
you've
it
got
also.
the investment in it, and the point of it is, we've had a
It's our
meeting.
business district, we
Oh.
need water and sewer.
We've had a meeting with the representative Fulton here, and with the engineers, and until the last play with Valney,
What was the
I thought we had-
answer? It says, give us North Bay free of taxes and you have all the water you want. Give us the
That was
pumping
someone else.
station, free taxes,
No, that
and
was
you can
somebody
have
else.
all, well, this is blackmailing Granby in my book. I'm sorry. Turn the
Jim,
damn
didn't
off.
the town of Oswego, aren't they gonna get water from Metropolitan?
This is not right, Jim.
you're going to have, well, the problem you have is,
Is that the route we should take?
well, if you want to start investigating where you're going to go, what options you're going to take and follow on, then we can do that. The problem I see is that right this moment, the city of Fulton administration doesn't have a goal that's going to take and resolve the problem. But I can't tell you that that's, you can investigate into bringing something from Metropolitan. You can investigate bringing something in from Onondaga County on the south line. I'm a little frustrated in the situation, but I don't see how you're going to change anything
Little.
until you take and have a major need you got to meet. Then when you do that, then you're going to have the opportunity to invest the money, because the citizens are going to be able to put the water district together and give you the money. If you have to go to Onondaga County line on that end of the county to bring that line down to where we need it, you're talking, what, 5 miles, 4 miles? If you're going to go from Metropolitan, you're talking at least 3 miles or 4 miles from the town line to where you need it.
Where's Metropolitan come in? What,
It's down here at the south side of Minetto, right at the town
Oh,
line.
is it
There's-
right there?
There's a tap there. But the tap won't do you any good without a water
tower.
tower for pressure. It won't do you any good without some other areas you're going to incorporate in a master plan for water development. And we're working on that right now. We're trying to develop the dollars it would cost us to designate a certain area a water district, and then do the same thing they talked about in the county plan. Users would pay this much, people who may be the users in the future would pay this much, and then individuals that would take and be way down the line would pay something else to pay for the original construction. The only thing I can tell you right this moment, we don't have a major demand other than the fact that we have some people sitting there that would use it tomorrow morning if they got it. We still have to have a public hearing on that.
Yeah.
But if it would happen, they would use it. But it's a very limited area that we're talking about, so if we had a major demand, then I would think that you would have to take and look at the potential where you go for
Do you
water.
know, if we ask for so much, but it's so little, to come from Phillip Street or someplace down Route 3. It's such a little thing for Fulton to give Granby. It's so little,
Well, there's not a,
and it just,
it is no give to it. It isn't a give. It's a policy that the city of Fulton's got to develop to provide a service to the town of Granby or the town of Allen. They just haven't developed a policy. And that was asked of them January 12th, and we haven't had, I was promised it in 2 weeks, and it hasn't come. And
well, I could say
it's what,
something
May
to
12th,
promise
May
it,
11th?
but I won't say it.
Jim, let me ask you something else. Let's go down this road here. The last house on this road, before you get to Route 3 on the right, I thought that house was gonna be taken care of there. I see garbage all over
They
the place.
moved out.
What, so what?
Well, the one next to New England Mohawk?
Well, I think that letter had gone from the building inspector to those people for clearing up. I don't, have they moved out of the house?
It's empty. I
I'm
was
telling you,
walking
the
the other
whole
morning
yard
and it's
is
empty.
garbage.
Okay, well, whoever owns it will,
They were notified.
Who
Yeah.
owns the house?
I don't know. I don't know.
Winifred?
Paul Winfrey.
Winfrey.
Did you check on him, Steve?
We sent him a certified letter to an address that he no longer lives at, and then the letter went out again today to the address in Syracuse, because apparently it's a rental property.
They moved to
Yeah.
Gifford Street up in Syracuse.
If the town cleans it up, can we put it on their taxes?
You'd have to make it
By
a,
resolution to make a
Yeah.
special assessment. I would,
you'd have to take and have a,
I know Fulton does it that way, I don't know how
But
Granby.
that's a resolution we should have in this town.
Probably have to have a local law in effect that requires that it be done, and then would permit the town to put it on the tax bill if it's not done and the town pays for it. Again, that's probably what you'd have to do, is to have that local law in effect.
Could the steering committee work on an amendment like that?
well, I think that what you need there is, you gotta have it, local law drafted by the town attorney and
Right.
presented to the town board for action.
It sure would help if we had something.
You wanna take and look at it, local law for,
Yeah, I'd like to.
that thing? Okay, well, we'll develop
I
one.
mean, if that's the only way we can get anything done, you know.
It's just like on Rathburn Road. They had garbage piled right up to the roof of the trail, right up, and then they got a bulldozer and they were gonna bury it out and back.
What do you want it to apply for?
Well, that's what I'm gonna ask you. I think we gotta develop a criteria, haven't we? 'Cause are we talking about, you're talking about, area. This is another area that really should be developed out, and looked at a little bit, before you
You know,
write it
yeah,
down.
there'd be something to work on. And I think like I know in the city of Fulton where I own property, if I don't cut the grass, if they go down and cut it, they'll put it on my bill. They seem to be able to get away with it.
Yeah, but they passed it.
Well, you've
Local
got a
law,
law
so-
in effect.
Well, I think this law should include not only garbage, but a few other things.
Junk cars.
Junk cars or whatever,
All right.
all right?
We need to define what it is that you're going to require of them.
Well, we give them a written notice, give them 30 days or whatever, and if it isn't done in that time, that we will do it, the town will do it and add it to their taxes.
All right, but you want to include cutting grass.
But why not?
Well, we might have to
I
have a
can-
work session on something, discuss some of the ideas first.
Some problems that you have.
Huh?
I wouldn't go for cutting grass. I wouldn't go for
Why
cutting
don't,
grass.
okay, why don't we develop an outline of activity you wanna get into,
I
okay?
think we'd have to have a work session with you, Jim, and divide some, you're right, and come time an outline here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Whatever. I don't, I don't,
No, it's worth looking into.
sure it's worth looking into. I mean,
Not
either
cut
that or
grass.
the town
I
looks
let
like it
mine-
is all the time.
Okay, we'll take and follow up on that one for you. Any other new business?
We got from water to garbage. or-
Jim, the city, down in back of Mrs. T's and Rod Marsh,
Mhm.
they haven't done anything to clean that up a little bit, have they? I mean, you know, they're good at passing laws for people to clean things up. But they don't seem to want to clean their mess up down there. It still looks like a junkyard down there.
All right, you want to
Rod Marsh, they called me and he complained about it.
Well, he got his taxes lowered $10,000, so
Well, that
maybe he
has-
could look
that-
at it.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it. The
That
point
has
is you got
nothing
a-
to do with
You've
it.
got a problem. He's bringing up the fact that they put stuff down there in the, during the wintertime or in the fall, and whether or not it's police property. We'll put that on the... Okay. Everyone satisfied with the new business? Committees, we've got the assessors and dog control report. The historian had an Arbor Day here on the last of April. I appreciate everybody attending that. I was out of town for that particular deal. Any reports you want to see are available in the office on the assessor and dog control officer. I don't have anything from the environmental board. I don't have anything from the planning board. ZBA. How about you, Steve? Do you have anything for us in the...
I haven't submitted many reports this year, but January and February are typically not active months. So far to date, we've issued 23 building permits. Last year at this time, it's kind of interesting to note we only issued 11. I don't know why there's such an increase, but we're issuing about double what we did last year. The total construction value going on in the town of Granby right now is about $500,000, which is about 10 times what it was last year. We've collected $1,335 in permit fees. 4 new houses were moved into. 2 certificates of compliance have been issued. 14 building inspections have been performed. 6 housing complaints have been issued and 4 zoning complaints. And of course, the mining situation is an ongoing thing. I'm receiving applications to submit to the zoning board.
Okay.
I've got, right now, applications are various stages from 4 different miners to be submitted to the zoning board.
Thank you. Rose, you want to report on the senior citizen?
Yeah, Ray, I have a message from the seniors to the highway department. They want to thank you for that lovely expansion of their driveway over there. They told me to tell the highway department they did a wonderful job. Don't you think that's a nice, that's very, you widen it and it's very nice. They want to thank you.
Good praise, Ray.
It's nice. It's really
We're gonna
nice.
get a free dinner, Rose?
Yeah, they're having you there next month. They're having the highway department there next month for
But that's the
dinner.
18th.
Yes,
the
they are.
22nd.
Yes, they are.
Tony, youth and recreation and
Camp Happening is going to be happening over the community center, July 18th to the 22nd. And the 4-H and the Cooperative Extension are going to have all the kids over there doing projects or whatever. And anybody in this town that's got children that are interested can attend.
highway superintendent.
Well, that parking lot she's talking about, we removed about 1 to 3 foot of dirt, clay, whatever over there and built it back up level and rolled it down, and maybe later on the town board will see fit to do something else on top of that, but it's a pretty good, hard parking lot right now, and we did enlarge it. We just finished rebuilding our old loader, the front end, the bucket. We have new cutting edge and all the new material on the bottom. Replaced all the pins and bushings and everything in that, so that's in pretty good shape now. I have, and I don't know if Jim knows or Bob, but I did receive the forms for the CHIPS report that we have to do. We just got those. This is what we have to do every year to show that we aren't using CHIPS money to reduce taxes or whatever. We've got to maintain our effort. So we'll be getting into that. And the only other thing I've got to say, we were talking about guardrail last week on Ridge Road, and I did get a hold of John Pritchard's office yesterday and ask about, several things. But I got a call from Carol, I guess her last name is Pritchard, I'm not sure. But she called me tonight about 3 o'clock and said that they were they'd been contacting nurseries and they're checking to see what kind of trees they should be putting there and getting prices, and they're going to be doing that shortly, so.
They're gonna put a row of trees?
I don't
Ray,
know. All I know is
they better be good-sized trees, not trees that's gonna take 20 years to grow. You better make sure that they're gonna put a good-sized trees there, whoever's...
That's not his prerogative.
Whose job is it? Yours,
I'm with
Steve?
Sue there.
Well, he could say I'm gonna put 20 trees, but you could get these trees, they better put some good-sized trees there.
maybe well, she called me tonight.
Oh, this is true.
To let me know they were doing this.
Steve, this has gotta go to, no, this is serious.
Well,
Jim?
they'll
No,
sell
he
something.
could,
That'll be-
knowing him, he's gonna say, I'm gonna put 20 trees.
Well, the point, the real problem you have, if you put trees up there that are 6-footers, you'll have them disappear for Christmas. I had one go, I didn't realize it was gone. I put some trees up and they're cut off. They got them for Christmas trees. I hope they had a good Christmas.
Plant apple trees or something.
Yeah, something
Put
different.
maple trees or something,
anyway.
but, no.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Now, see, this is what's wrong. When something comes up, you say, yeah, but he's
Well, no,
gonna
he's
make sure.
already checked into it. He was looking at what his options were gonna be. We asked him to take a look and see what we're gonna do about the side
And
of
I'm
that road.
asking Steve Lawn to make sure he puts proper halfway decent trees up there.
Well,
Steve, is there a rule of what size tree they gotta put up?
There is, I don't know what it
Well, that's
is.
what
There's
He
gotta
do
be
something that isn't written.
I say this, if you
Well,
just
It's nice
see
to
what
talk
happens,
about
guys.
it, but he hasn't got, he can't do
I'm
nothing.
saying, well, geez, you know,
It was advised that it
I
had
could answer you right now,
Rose?
but I
No.
won't say it on
Okay.
camera.
Rose?
Okay.
appropriate.
And Jim?
All you do is talk. You can't do nothing. They plant a tree, it doesn't matter what size.
All I do is talk.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, no, I just want to say, wasn't the original from some engineer, he come up with trees, but was it the original idea to put a guardrail?
Yep.
That's what somebody recommended?
Yes, I had that recommendation. Also, he didn't put it in writing, but down that whole road, there's trees as far as maybe 2 and 3 foot all over that road, and most of the town, even county roads, off the side of the road, which they recommend you remove all of those trees within our whole right-of-way. That's their recommendation. But
Yeah, but,
I'd rather,
yeah, but isn't an extremely big drop-off there? That's why they come up with the idea of the guardrail.
Well, I don't know why they.
I don't
he
think
just-
trees
he
are
just
going to be
took it.
adequate in this case.
Well, let's see what's happening. He looked into it because we were looking into the action on what we're gonna do here, who's gonna do what here. Okay, Mr. Budget Officer.
Watch out for you.
Okay, this is the way we stand on finances as of the first week of the month. Again, I'll talk about the general fund, specifically the contractuals. I have no comment on mine as far as the first sheet is concerned. Everybody's numbers are coming down just the way they should. Nobody on this first sheet, assessors, attorney, engineer, and so forth, they're still okay. Buildings is still okay. Got about 40,000 left there. Let's see. I guess my set of comments all deal with numbers. Is there any activity you know of on the other 5 potential sewer
Not
and
yet.
water districts in
Not
the
yet,
town? Okay. Playgrounds and recreation, we appropriated money for possible program with the YM.
Yeah, nothing's happening yet.
Nothing's happening on there, okay. Our library archives, we still haven't received the money from the
From the
state,
state,
so we
no.
can't spend that
That,
remaining 500 that the state said they were gonna send us.
we had a communication with them probably 3 months ago from the state, department. Let me refresh and see what's going on.
See, that may be caught up in the budget because they haven't passed yet.
Well, I don't know if that's it or not, but let me check and see what that is on the archive.
at the same time, is John are we doing anything down at Oswego as far as incurring any bills?
No?
Okay. All right, historian, John's got $213 left. Okay, celebrations, might it be appropriate for the board to consider Citizen of the Year? Assuming you're going to do that in connection with the field days?
Let me check and see.
Okay. The appropriation for plaque and so forth in connection with Citizen of the Year comes out of celebrations. Tourism, we put $400 in it this year, which is the money we basically get back from the hotel, motel room tax. Not sure how you plan to spend that money. Okay, Zoning Board of Appeals, based on the meetings that board has had this year and other expenses, they are down to only $435 to conduct their business for the rest of the year. I assume you've notified the chairman.
Yeah, he knows he's spent.
He knows he's down that low now. Okay. Environmental control, we put $4,500 in there for, as far as you know, the county's still planning on working over in
The lake, Oxtrack on the lake, whatever.
Okay, so that money's still sitting there. Building inspector is down to $88 in your contraction.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. All right, we talked about the equipment purchase thing. I have no comments on general unless somebody else has. Okay, highway. Really, Ray hasn't started the repair and building program yet because spring is just now disappearing. So mainly most of his budget is still in place. So I really have no comment unless somebody has anything on the highway budget, which is on page 4. Now we get down to the districts. Water North, any activity as far as repairing those hydrants?
Not yet. That's the deal with the city of Fulton. I haven't had anything back from them yet. But we're going to purchase the hydrants we're going to have the 4 hydrants bought up and take down so we can do it when we're ready to.
Well, the $5,200 is just sitting there.
Yeah.
Okay, I have nothing else. Now, capital projects, the town borrowed $10,000 2 years ago, or a year ago, in connection with the Hannibal Street water. We have a balance of $53.66. So, unless you know of any expenditures in connection with the Formian district, that money just sits there. So, that's all I have.
Okay. If I may, I would like to introduce a young lady that's taken, and I guess it's a class project. Becky Marshall happened to be a relative, one of the employees of the town here. She's in the back. She's doing a thing for her class in her school.
My daughter was Dolores Marshall, but she married Ricky Rogers, so it's my granddaughter.
I'm sorry.
Becky Rogers.
I got it up here. I'm sorry. Yes, it's Rogers. My apologies, Becky. I know that Marshall name when he puts things into it. I had it on my list over here on the other side, and right up here I got it, but I didn't follow it through. I apologize, Becky. Let me see. We didn't have any particular thing with Water Week, but May 1st to the 7th was Water Week in New York State, and primary thing that they had done was where they had drainage systems, manholes and stuff. Communities did try to designate wastewater or drain water items, so they documented this thing being a entrance into a drainage pipe that would go into a lake or river or something like that. They tried to make sure people understood that was there. And we had a meeting with some of the town officials here this week. We're going to do this monthly, 8:30 to 9:30 on the first Thursday of the month. to go over some of the little concerns we have in the office and different committees, trying to iron out any lack of communication, I guess, is what, for lack of a better word, of what's going on. I attended the Good Morning Fulton breakfast this morning, and the topic of discussion was the Fulton Community Development Agency, and how it affects our community. And they were talking generally the city of Fulton when they discussed this. But in reality, it affects Granby in the fact that it was a communication started by Carol Rutledge with the Community Development Department with Nestle's 3-4 years ago. They were concerned about problems that Nestle's might be having in any decisions making procedures they would be going through for employment of people in the area. And the result of that was their initial request led to a grant that provided the drainage system for Nestle's and a $50 million approved development by Nestle Corp in Fulton of the Fulton plant, which started them off on a relationship with other departments in the county. The Fulton Community Development Group was basically a arm of the city of Fulton for development and urban renewal type activity in the old days that was managed by the city of Fulton and exclusively city of Fulton development. But in their adventure with, as I understand it, with their adventure with Nestle's, they found that they had a lot in common with other agencies in the county, and that their involvement with them made the opportunity for grant approvals for Nestle's drainage system satisfactory and approved all the way around. They have gone further than that now. They have also are tied in with the city of Oswego and the city of Auburn in requesting funding for small city aid. I won't get into the particulars of it because I'm not sure of all the particulars of it, but the point of it is the Fulton Community Development Agency has grown and found there's a lot of areas that they're relative to, and they can help improve the Fulton area. And when they do that, they're talking Fulton area, they're talking the city of Fulton, town of Granby, town of Valney, town of Schuylkill. There was money just recently given by the canal department for a walkway in Fulton and a landing area down there for boat launching, and that was something done by private citizens but organized by the Community Development Organization in conjunction with Schuylkill County Planning and the town of Schuylkill and the village of Phoenix. So the three communities were beneficial from their correspondent communication. That's why it's difficult when you set on the neighborhood-based initiative program and you set on a couple other committees that are involved with the River Valley. It's kind of hard to say there's no hope for a relationship with City of Fulton, because there are people doing things. They're citizens first, they're volunteers second, they're public employees, they're directed to do certain things. All these people are coming together, and whether the City of Fulton makes the right decision or not won't be the issue. It's these citizens that are participating and creating a lead. And I guess that's where I hold my hope that we're going to take and see some benefits come to us. There's other people besides elected officials that are working in all areas of the county. So, being an optimist, I don't feel totally down on all the things that's happening in the city of Fulton. I just feel that they're going through another transition. They keep doing this to me. We also have been notified the Town Justice Court had extended its daytime hours to include Tuesdays. They used to have 4 days a week. Now they're going to have 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 p.m. Also, I may advise you that normally this time of year, with the state budget not being completed, we would be having a resolution sent to our representation down to Albany saying, how about getting on with it and do it? As I understand it, we're going to get our monies same as last year, and a couple of things happening. But we don't get our money until September. So they can pass the budget anytime between now and September. And it won't affect us because we don't get our money in September. That was done 2 years ago. They changed the payment program. We used to get it quarterly. And the wisdom of Albany was to hold on to the money till September and give it to us at that time. My understanding is we'll get our state aid, per capita state aid, in the amount we had last year. And as I understand it, our CHIS program will be in the amount, and maybe a little bit more than we had last year. But it's all depending on the state budget resolution. We had other communications that come into town. Yesterday was a teleconference to discuss issues of Niagara-Mohawk's new gas and electric rate increase proposal. They had that. A teleconference on New York State alternative fuels for vehicles will be held May 17th. We've passed that on to the Highway Department and Chairman of the Environmental Board. Leadership of Seward County Graduation Community Leadership Recognition Dinner to be held June 3rd. A conference of state and local government responsibilities under the American Disability Acts in New York State will be held June 16th. A Seward County Local Emergency Planning Committee workshop entitled Overview of the Incident Command System to be held Thursday evening to explain how the system works during an emergency situation.
Does it have a date on that, Jim?
On which one?
The last one you just said.
That's tomorrow night. She's got it here in the office where it's at. I don't know exactly where it's at. But anyway, there are some of the notification we got. We have other stuff that comes through that's not pertinent to the general town as we exist now. We have small grants that are available. We have other items that may have be of interest, but we don't have any mechanism in place to develop the basis for them. And if you're in this office here, the town of Granby receives information from all the departments of the state of New York in every direction, and a lot of it's just not relative to our operation at this time of our situation financially and our town's population. And no one else has anything else to bring up?
We tabled the garage doors the last time.
Oh yeah, I got that.
What
on there.
happened to the
I'm sorry.
garage doors?
We took and put that off because we're going to chase down the number. We're going to do it later this summer. We're going to chase down the number of the doors we're going to get into and the type of situation. Ray and I were out looking at it, and we've got 4 sections that possibly need service before winter comes on. The lower part of the doors get the damage from the 1, salt, 2, if they happen to hang a little low and something catching them going out, because they're just clearance enough to get most equipment in and out of them. And that's all we did. We just
That's all
didn't.
you did?
Yeah, we haven't got into anything more on it because we're going to look and see what we can do about it. We might do it ourselves. I mean, that's one of the things we're looking at, what we
Okay.
could do.
I've got a
Yes.
second thing.
Yep.
For the last 4 years, if I'm all mouth, Mr. Cavone, for the last 4 years, I've been putting flags on 3 cemeteries in Granby for the last 4 years for Memorial Day, which is, I was gonna bring up tonight, which has gotta be done the end of this month.
Yes.
Now, I'm asking you to volunteer your time to do it this year. If I'm all mouth, you do it this year.
Oh, wait a minute. Who's-
I didn't say that.
Volunteer it. Volunteer it,
I'm
Tony.
just saying that it's easy to make
Volunteer your
suggestions.
time, Tony, besides sitting up
Just-
here. Do something in this town.
Well, Jim, I wanted to talk about something else.
Go ahead.
According to Fulton, they're gonna vote on an Indian museum. That's gonna disrupt that plan that we put up $4,000 for.
Yep.
Is
The-
that
Yeah.
wasted?
No, I don't say it's wasted yet. It's frustrating. Again, you have the same problem. We have a master plan that's been developed, and the Lake Reclamation Committee, by resolution of the city and the town of Granby, exists to be an advisory group on the lake, and we incorporated in that the shoreline on the whole lake, but particularly on the development of Lake Nianawana frontage in the city of Fulton. We had a meeting 2-3 months ago with New York State Urban Development Corp., and they were looking into doing something for us in a study for financial analysis and tourism value of that area and where the effect would come from. This thing that happened down to the city has the Lake Committee talking to the city. They met last night with them, told the Lake Reclamation Committee, advised the city administration that they weren't happy with the turn of events, and that if this thing progresses in this manner, that may cause the master plan to become subject to real concern about operation. And they made that point. I don't know exactly where we stand on it today. I know that they didn't come to the Lake Reclamation Committee for any advisory as to what would happen if you did this and that. It's a situation where the city administration hasn't followed their agreement. Now, they own the land, the city does. I suppose they can do what they want with it. But it's going to take and make some consideration of our investment in that shoreline to be subject to a discussion.
I know.
I just figured we'd have to wait till we found out exactly the repercussions. We haven't got anything from them that tells us this is going to be final. My problem that I saw with it when they presented was the fact that there is a facility at the state fairgrounds that they operate for the Indian nation up there for their benefit during State Fair Week. They also have a area on the lake, Onondaga Lake up there is the mission up there that they put a lot of money into, and they're having fundraising problems there to support that. And then I'm looking at Turning Stone, wherever it's down in Oneida. I would think that there was some way of doing something to enhance the situation with the Native Americans. That would be a place they would put it at, because they're putting money into golf tournaments now and some other things.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what's going to come of this, but I do know that we as members of the Lake Reclamation Committee have been in contact with the mayor in his committee. I won't say that, council, twice in the last 7 days. And our representation on that, beside myself, is Fanny Knapp and Dr. Boadr. And I was in his chair yesterday getting my little work done, and I told him to get my work done before he got excited about this village, because I didn't want to get hurt. But the problem is, there's a breakdown in communication on that and responsibility. But again, somehow or other, the city administration is off and running.
I'd just like to, could I say something to Rosie? It's not inflammatory at all.
Not inflammatory?
No.
It's been all
I
along.
figure like this,
It's
Rosie.
been all along.
I like to
Tony.
do things for the living, not the dead.
Volunteer your time.
That's all right.
All right, okay, I
Jim,
guess.
all I wanted to
have
say.
to bring the flag up. It's got to be done by the end of the month.
Well, I know, it's on here. We'll take and be into it anyway.
I've
but
done it
go
for
ahead.
4 years.
Okay.
Let him take a golf day and go put the flags on the
Well,
cemetery.
all right, we'll make sure all the flags are on
There's
anyway.
more than one worker on this
We
board.
also have, we expect the mowing to be done properly. We got that agreement with Grover all
Why doesn't
signed,
he
so that's.
volunteer?
I don't know why.
I'm not all mouth, Tony.
Okay, if nobody else have anything else, I'll take it out of the town bills, please. General bills are $40,097.73. And highway funds, $8,714.10.
I move so.
Move both of them?
Yep.
Any objection to moving both of them? Can I have a second for both of them?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pass, Madam Clerk. The date of the next meeting is June 8th. What?
Friday. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Looking at
Yeah,
Okay,
it
that's
is
fine.
June 8th.
Boy, that girl better be right.
it. No,
June 8th at 7:30. And if we take and schedule a work session, we'll advise on that. And I do want to take and apologize to Becky Rogers. I didn't mean to do that to you, Becky. I won't hardly sleep tonight. Okay. I'll open the floor to the public.
Before you go any further, I'll volunteer to put the flags on one of the cemeteries, and if necessary, I'll do them all if nobody else will.
Well,
But
I'll
say-
give you a hand with them anyway. I'll give you a hand with them. I got a problem.
Well,
I understand,
Ray, I
Roy.
was out
Tony?
there. Yeah.
Okay.
we got flags last year, right?
Can I borrow your pen? My pen's not right.
Anything but money.
I'll volunteer to help somebody with the flags. Honest to God, I was gonna say that.
Then I won.
I wouldn't mind. I do have a question on the cemeteries. Are they gonna take away the leaves that they've piled outside? Okay.
We take away them, we take out the stuff on the inside and they'll pile them outside and usually we pull them, do
You
we?
said they, who do you mean they?
Well, it's because when I raked that whole cemetery, I didn't take the leaves away. I
No, they
pulled them
do.
outside and
They-
they
Are we
stayed
supposed to
there.
do that this year too? I mean,
We did it last year, didn't we, Ray?
I think you did it the year I did. You came, I got them early
I
night
think we
on
take
them
it
out.
to the-
You
we
guys
I
get
was
did
trying to
it.
watch them, I was hoping they kind of roll away or something.
Hey,
Still
no,
okay.
no.
Okay, well,
I got a committee of people going to the cemetery. All right?
Good.
Yes.
Good.
All right. Should we advise Rose we're going to go to the cemetery?
No, when somebody says I'm all mouth and they don't realize what
Well,
I do
Rose,
for this
yeah.
town.
I will take,
That man over there, all he does is collect his pay up
wait a
here,
minute.
that's
you're going to
it.
cemetery.
I'll take a roll call, Rose, of who goes to the cemetery and I'll tell you who comes back out, okay?
Jim, he owes me an apology for saying that, because I do a lot for this town, and when he says I'm just mouth up here,
Well, I'm not, I'm not.
don't give me that.
I'm
I'm the
not,
only one.
Speak for
Sorry,
themselves.
can I get on anybody else?
I'm
Yeah.
still not-
Yeah, I know you are, Lynn.
Okay, what did you say about the 30 days? I guess I didn't understand the whole thing about
Okay.
the mining issue.
The intention was that I was asked that we take and do something that needed a 30-day, that we needed to take and have a public hearing on. It was a special, that it would be part of a zoning ordinance, okay? And I've reviewed this and we've checked into it. As far as my determination is, and council advised me we're in pretty good shape on it, was the fact we were not doing enforcement because we have that power. We weren't doing enforcement on it. We were saying that if anybody that was, didn't have a permit that was valid, they had 30 days to start the procedure, to get in the paperwork, start the procedure to get themselves out of the situation and be in violation. They had nothing to do with It had nothing to do with special use permit, because that's a zoning
So it's
issue.
legal in our zoning laws to do that, correct?
No, it's the town board's enforcement policy.
It was an enforcement policy,
Yeah, if-
right? Okay. I'm not done yet. It's been 30 days. You gave them 30 days to make application. How many have got their applications completely submitted?
2.
Then can we please send violations to the others? The 30
Well-
days is up. No,
Well, no,
Jim,
Well, it was to get the paperwork started in the
it was
process.
to make application.
Yeah, but whatever,
4 that have started.
Yeah.
2 that got
Total?
considered complete.
Yeah.
Very close to completed.
But I don't know exactly why, what's the holdup on the other two that,
I haven't got any response at all from
Did-
miners in that area. No,
they didn't respond to the fact that they,
didn't respond to our letter saying that they had to submit.
additional information? All right.
I think we need, can I get an answer on that? Can we send
Yeah,
those that have not
I'll see-
the appropriate
let me-
to cease and desist mining?
Let me see what I can talk with the council and see what I, find out where we stand on it. It isn't just quite as easy as that, but let me see what I got.
Could you call me with an answer, Jim, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Vince mentioned the fees that you're trying to come up with, you and Wally, I guess, on the special use permits. Is this for renewals?
Yeah. But this argument was that they didn't have to pay a fee, and we're saying they do. Okay? I mean, the contention was, someone said they didn't have to, and my contention is they would, and that we would start a procedure to get it, that's all. They
Do
didn't-
we have criteria that we need to follow for them to get renewals? And if so, could someone please explain it to me so we have this public, how it has to be done? I know there's been a lot of current controversy over it, and I'd like to know what's been come up with how to go for a renewal.
Well, I guess that letter you probably, what you're telling me would be the best thing to follow down on. What she's asking the criteria, we're asking for this, this, and this, right?
4 standards we came up with, because there was absolutely no standard, was you needed to submit all permits they had that were current. They needed sworn testimony that they hadn't expanded the use or
That they hadn't or had?
enlarged or expanded.
Well, yeah, just an affidavit of no change or modification.
No change, okay.
Any DEC permits they had to be submitted.
Do they have to go back to the ZBA and a public hearing for a renewal on this?
They have to go back to the ZBA for the request, and they'll have, some of it will be a public hearing.
Some of them will be a public hearing?
No, somewhere there'll be a public hearing. I
Somewhere.
don't know exactly.
Okay, now my next question, I guess, is that we've allowed them to mine, in my opinion, illegally for 30 days already. How long is it going to take to get all this criteria together, to get a public hearing, to let them mine?
Well, they're mining, in the interim, they're mining. Whatever paperwork's got to be given to the ZBA is the information that we've asked for, and
Are you
they...
going to set a time limit on this? Because right now, in my opinion, they are mining illegally, and I think we've been kind enough by giving them 30 days
I recognize what you're saying. I
to
don't
make
know what you...
application. Let's set a time limit on this. So this has to be brought to the town's attention and get it taken care of.
But I think you put in there the 30 days. On your letter, it said the 30 days is nearing the end, and they had to be responsive by such and such a time, right?
But what I guess I'm saying is from start to finish, you gotta come up with a hearing, the whole works. This could go on for maybe another year.
Good. No,
You're gonna let them
I don't
mine?
wanna go on
Like,
a whole year.
I know, but
No, I
Jim,
mean, I have no control of the ZBA procedure. what
exactly,
they
but
do.
shouldn't you discuss somewhere amongst yourselves or something, a time limit put on this? Because you have given them a courtesy, okay, which was not, in my opinion, the right thing to do. But you have done it. And shouldn't we now say, okay, it's gotta stop somewhere? I mean, you can't just extending 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. I mean, if you don't,
No, the 30,
I know, Jim, but in my opinion, and please just listen to me a minute, is the town has been very kind to these people, okay? They have. And they should be very thankful for what you people have done for them, okay? Because they have been mining without town permits. I think you need, though, to stop being so kind. Now, you've given them the 30 days, we should now say, okay, you gotta start complying with the law. Let them scurry to get things done, demand that they get a hearing by a ZBA. But they need to be slapped on the hand somewhere here and say, the law has been broken, we gave you the 30 days, that's it. Stop it and let them wait till they get their permits.
Well, what we've done is we have two, as I understand, we got two units that have complied to the request for information, and that's in the process of the ZBA. The ZBA will schedule a hearing or schedule a meeting with them and then go from there, whatever the ZBA is going to do. I won't get into that because I really don't watch that part of it. But they'll do that. The other two, Steve is saying that they haven't responded, and he's got, in his letter, the 30 days is up, and he was going to take and have some reaction to that. Now, as to whether or not it's going to take 3 months to get all this done on the two that's existing, that I don't know. They're going to take a little bit because they're going to have notification. They're going to have a meeting with the ZBA, notification of public hearing, right? For whatever the time that takes. I would hope that it would resolve itself. I'm sincere when I say I would hope it resolve itself, and that would take care of it. The other two, I don't know exactly what the status is. I know any more about you do.
So there is criteria for renewal.
We've created it, okay?
We have it written somewhere.
Well, we're working with it, yes, okay? But it's only, if I'm not satisfied with my situation, I just got done talking about that a little while ago. I'm not satisfied with my situation. I think my situation is one that's sort of unreasonable as far as I'm concerned, because I don't have any problem with understanding exactly what's going on. I feel that I should have something to act on, whether it's good or bad, and I can vote on whether it's good or bad. But at least I should have something in front of me, and I haven't that. That's my only problem.
Publicly, I'd like to commend one of the mining companies. I know that's scary for me to say that, but Northern Ready Mix has, in the last couple of days, produced their DEC permit with plastic around it right at their entrance of their pit, which is in the DEC laws. Northern Ready Mix has not pulled a load out of that pit since they knew they didn't have a town permit. I respect them because they know they were breaking the law, or, that they didn't have a permit, whether they weren't notified that they had to renew it or what. They have not pulled a load out of that permit, or that pit. You have two mines that are still hauling and still are illegal, so I think that Northern needs to be commended. I really, really do. And I wanted to let everybody know that. He's the only one that has his permit right in front of the pit, which is in the special conditions of the DEC. Now, are we going to still have him? He's only got $88 left in his budget. Is he going to be able to be around to finish all this through?
There was his contingency.
Who are you talking about?
Steve.
Oh, him?
Yeah. What do we do after that?
No, that's a contraction.
If he has expenditures that are legal and justified and the town board approved, we have, in the case of the general fund, we have a contingency account, and we can transfer month to month to cover those.
I didn't want to get rid of him, yeah.
We'll take it out of Tony's pay.
Wait a minute, did you say you don't want to get rid of him yet?
I said I want to get rid of him. He knows. I talk to him every day.
Okay.
He's my friend now. Now, the last thing I have on the agenda.
Will I get in trouble if I ask about Fickle?
Fickle? Well, I don't want to get rid of Steve.
I mean,
He talks to me kindly just about every day when I call and complain. Okay. Now, getting back to the conversation, I called Mr. Lund the other morning. Mr. Pritchard was mining before the town permit regulations and the state permit. He was there at 7 o'clock. We caught him coming out of his pit, going down the road. I called Mr. Lund. I believe Mr. Lund is sending or did send a violation out. And I wanted to let you all know that we're doing our job out there. You've all asked us to get our violations, and we're working on it. And somebody was in Pritchard's Pit the other day by a hummer, and they got buried. What do we do about something like that?
Being in the pit,
And he was going up and down the pit, yeah.
and they were playing, is that what they're doing?
Oh, yeah.
I would,
Isn't he supposed to have some type of fence? Even Mr. Meany's got a little fence across
I
his.
agree, but I think that Mr. Pritchard ought to take, he's trespassing on his property.
I realize that, but I don't know if any of you has noticed that Mr. Pritchard doesn't do anything he's supposed to. So, I mean, he wants to plant trees. He wants to, which he was supposed to do years ago when he got it. He was running in violation of his permit. Somebody's gonna get killed in there, then what's gonna happen? Shouldn't someone say to the gentleman that he needs to put a rope across there or something with a posted sign? I don't believe there's even that.
I don't know what he's got over there on the thing, but.
And the guardrail. I don't think we're finished with that one yet. Is that drop for trees, or what are we gonna do?
No, the inquiry was what action or activity we're gonna have over there. And that was, we just chasing down what is gonna happen. I mean,
When are we gonna know what's gonna happen, though? I mean,
well, we just inquired, and so we're just finding out. They're supposed to get back with some idea of something they're gonna put up there. I don't know, and Little Pines like that is not in the ball game. I understand that, so.
well, there was a suggestion, though, for a guardrail, so why, are we just throwing that one out for pines, or what?
No, but if there's trees there, it would be no difference than any other spot along the road. If there's trees there, that's gonna stop traffic from going.
How big, though? I mean, it
I
might
don't-
take 20 years for them to grow.
That's what they said you were getting prices and finding out I don't know yet.
Are
She
they
just
gonna
called me
get back with
tonight.
you as to what they're going to do, or
I don't know, but I can
in
get
6
back.
months, are you gonna have to write them a letter and say, well, you
No.
got an answer?
I can get back to them. I know where they.
Well, I know, but Ray, it's
Find
really
out.
not your responsibility. It's theirs to get back with
Well,
you. And I just think, is there about a letter written to them about this? Maybe if we have a documented letter.
I don't believe that I can make them put up guardrail. If it's gonna be guardrail, the town's gonna have to put it up there. I'm sure of that.
You see, what I was trying to get is, Wally, you're a lawyer. When somebody says, I'm going to do this, it doesn't specify what size or what this. Now, I'm no dummy. Maybe I'm a comedian, council person, but if he comes along and says, well, it didn't specify, I put my 20 trees, it did not specify what sizes or anything. Legally, Wally, you look at the legal aspects of things, right? Now, later on, he could come and say, I planted my 20 trees. They could come from the nursery about that big. And I'm looking at the legal side of it. Mr. Cavone can say I just talk out of my head, but I am looking at the legal thing. If he's going to tell him he's going to plant 20 trees, it should specify what size tree, it should legally, that's a legal part of it.
But the point of it is, the whole point of it is,
a question to me or a statement?
I mean, I'm asking you now, isn't this,
well, if there's a criteria to follow, would
as a lawyer, isn't this what you lawyers would look at if something came up and the guy would say, hey, it just said I planted 20 trees. The town,
The question is, what document creates the legal obligation? And then, what does that document say?
Jim,
That's what we need to look at.
Is there an amendment stating what size tree? Why don't you make an amendment?
in his permit,
Oh, that's right, too, excuse me.
Tony, in his permit, he said, I am leaving a row of trees near the road. He is leaving. Oh, I'm
Roads.
sorry, I didn't know what I was touching.
You gotta remember one thing, you didn't specify the size of the tree.
In his permit.
okay, but what you're saying,
So-
let's take it back one step here and let's say, wait a minute, let's see what's going to
Sorry.
transpire when you get done, okay? You're going to find out.
See what he's going to do up there, and then if we have to put guardrails, because we're gonna have to go to the
You just
expense
have
and
to
put
be
it up.
very fussy on, make sure you know what you're doing, because, no, all of us.
Okay, Lynn, you got
Then,
one?
Mr. Meany he's already had a permit for 3 years and extension for 2. How are we working his new application?
Well, because we have it both ways on this thing. You have a 3-year plus a 2.
Which he's already had,
Yeah. got
it all.
But also,
Now what do we do though?
but then you have another problem because of the fact if you're saying, where does it say you can't have another 2?
It doesn't say, but that's
No,
what I'm saying.
That's, I mean,
How do you
What-
do either when
what-
it's not in our zoning law?
exactly right. And that's, I kicks me back about 5 different things back. What I'm saying we need to take and have in front of us is a corrected amendment. I think that we have been very well aware of these things. We better do something about it. I am very frustrated. I don't have them to vote on this.
But what are we gonna do? He's gonna make application, he's gonna want a mine, and what are you gonna do in the meantime?
Well, he's going to take and have an application in, and we don't have him says that he can't. His DEC permit has a certain time on it, and a special use permit in one part of the zoning ordinance, runs with the land. Special use permits don't just stop. When you say you got a special use permit, these things happen. In this particular instance, as I understand, it specifies soil extraction with some reclamation plan, okay? Leaves you wide open, and leaves the town wide open as to what the intent is and what the results are going to be. So right now we're
It'll be interesting because he's never claimed anything in all the years he's had that place.
What about his
No, I
house?
can understand. I understand what you're saying. Fred, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm still a little confused on,
See you later. I'm sorry. I got
on, I'm not sure what you were trying to say with regards to the planning board, and you're frustrated, and you got correspondence March the 3rd or wherever it was. Are you trying to say that you're waiting for them to come back with a completed amendment, and they haven't yet?
I don't have.
Is that what you meant by that?
The original direction was give me some amendments, okay?
And that hasn't happened yet?
No, they provide us with they provided with some proposed items that they would take and suggest. And the town board looked at them and made decisions what would be feasible with the town board. And returned to them, asked them with a direction that this is what you've got. And have it. And the result of that was not amendments in any manner. It's coming back to me and saying that this is what you've told us you'd like to see. Now, the reason the town board would even suggest a direction is because the town board's going to have to make the presentation.
Does the planning board know you're waiting and anxious to see this?
Yeah. I mean,
Yes?
that's we were over the meeting the other day when we did that. Same question. I'm still waiting, yes. And we're paying for the meetings,
The planning board knows that?
yes.
That they're late? More or less sort of saying that let's go.
I'd like to have my town board take some action for me to do something about it, and it's not happening, so I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Because I was gonna ask the status of that, and I guess that's it, it's not. Do you have a feel for a date then? I guess you can't answer that either if you don't feel comfortable with what.
I don't have anything in front of me, and I don't have anyone telling me that on such and such a date, these amendments will be in front of me.
Okay. Next question, maybe Tony can answer. Well, when's that steering committee meeting gonna be? Do you have a date for that?
I hope, you said Tony, you probably meant Vince.
I'm sorry, Vince. I apologize.
I hope to have one either a week from today, which would be May the 18th or May the 19th. I've been talking with Kathy, and up until tonight, I wasn't sure who the...
Okay, that's fine. Thanks. And one more issue where I thought I was clear on it, but I guess I'm not now. I thought about a month and a half ago, the number 30, meaning 30 days, was the amount of time as of that date we all realized that a lot of the pit owners were in violation. They didn't have extensions. I thought we were going to allow them to continue for 30 days mining for 30 days. And then it was going to stop, I thought. And in that time, you expected them to quickly, expeditiously process their extensions or whatever they needed to process to be able to become legal again.
Okay,
And
no.
what you said earlier wasn't that. I thought that was really
The
clear.
30 days was to the people who were in violation to develop the paperwork, put in front of the ZBA to have the procedure followed, to either deny or accept their
So you get
application, okay?
30 days to get their paperwork there.
Get their paperwork. But that, now you get the question whether they operate or not, okay? And really, as I relate to the board and the way I have it directed, is the fact that they will operate until they're either denied or approved
Okay,
for
all right.
a special
I
permit.
misunderstood that.
Well, the 30-day, the problem you had was, that, you know, because all of a sudden you're going to have a timeline to get these in. Now, we got 2 that says they're in and 2 that are in some manner incomplete. Even in that instance, we have some discussion as to what we're asking for in making the procedural thing happen. Do we go back to scratch on the thing and so on?
Thanks, I got 2 more quick ones that are financial in nature, I guess. Rose pays for this videotaping to happen every month, and I think it's a great idea, and everybody I've talked to thinks it's a great idea. Now, I haven't talked to you up there, but I mean people who don't come to meetings but sure like to know what's going on. How do I make a proposal that the town of Granby make this a normal thing and that we budget for it and have it in the annual budget? How do I do that? Or is that something somebody up there can make a motion right now?
You don't have to do it. The town board members have, I guess I'll give you a little demonstration. A town board member makes a motion, a second to the motion, discussion takes place. A decision could be tabled or it can be acted on, yes or no. And that's what it's about.
Well, you know what my opinion is?
No.
I thought that before that camera came here, that somebody would have the decency to say, look, I'm hiring a camera to come and tape these meetings, and I'd like the rest of the board to know it, and whether they would like to get involved in it. Because it isn't right for one person to hire that camera, because that tape can be edited. I'm not saying it is, don't misunderstand me, but that tape can be used to enhance other people's opinions. And I didn't approve of that, and as far as I'm concerned now, I would not approve it, because it didn't come up in front of the board
He said it's illegal.
in a decent manner.
He said it's very illegal. He wouldn't go for it. So seeing that he wouldn't go for it,
I'm not saying it was illegal. I'm just
yes,
saying,
you did out in the hall.
I'm
you
just
told me.
saying what can happen, Fred.
Seeing that he wouldn't go for it, I pay for it out of my own pocket.
Is anybody interested in making that motion now?
They aren't
Well,
going to pass it. They aren't going to pass it.
I
will
would make the
continue
motion,
to
but
pay
I
it.
don't,
What I
I
would,
don't think
what I
it'll get
would,
approved.
what I would take, and normally I would take and say, you know, we come in here and we'll do things and so on.
Sure.
Usually I got something here telling me what the budget item is going to be, and you're going to say, this is what the total is going to be, and you work with it. I haven't heard enough. No one approached me about even
Mr.
making that
White,
part of the agenda.
Mr. White, I used to write articles once a month for the Valley News. And all I could do was get a little piece here, piece there. Mr. Cabone is very much against this. Mr. Cabone is against this. He doesn't want this on television. So instead of me writing this piece here, piece there, I'm willing to take my part of what I earn here and put into this, and this is my priority. I can do this.
Well, the problem you have, Rose,
And the
when you-
thing about it is, the people of Granby know what the highway is doing, what the planning board is doing. They see what's going on. And I don't know why Mr. Cabone doesn't like it.
It's not a matter of not liking it, Fred. I
You would
presented
vote
my
against
case.
it.
Just as if you were sitting up here,
You would.
wouldn't you have liked to have been consulted
You would vote
on a
against it.
camera being here?
I got, tell me what I'm going to do.
You would vote against it too, Jim. You did.
I mean, you'd
This
want
town
it.
board does
Wouldn't you
not
want
want it.
that?
Well,
If you
my
knew
opinion
the town
is I
board
think it
didn't
ought to
want
be
it.
It's a public hearing, I mean, it's a public access meeting, so in my opinion, everything that happens here should be public
Right,
I'm not questioning
right,
and on, and available to TV.
that. I'm not questioning that.
right, Mr. White. And if
He
you knew
does.
that
That's
they
my
didn't
opinion,
want
that's
it, why not go for it?
So
The thing
so
is-
if we wanted to make the motion now, we could, everybody in Granby can see how
Miss-
you're gonna vote.
Mr. White, I'd be glad for them to pay for it, but it's not gonna be that way.
All right.
This is
That's all
just,
I have, thanks.
I'll keep on paying for it, and I won't ask for a pay raise
Fred, you
either like
understand?
Mr.
I
Cavone
understand.
did.
Yes.
Fred, you understand the procedure?
I'm worth a lot
Okay,
more.
so,
Thanks.
okay.
May I have a word?
Yeah, you're a citizen, I guess you can.
This is my name is Terry Reynolds of Say Video Production. I'm the person who videotapes. I started in Massachusetts with the State House meetings, and then I went to the City of Marlborough Common Council meetings and videotaped for 3 years. I'm originally from Fulton. I grew up and graduated from G. Ray Boadr. I moved back to my hometown after I worked in the TV station in Boston, Massachusetts. I see the impact of the meetings in Boston, Massachusetts, and how everyone enjoyed viewing what their council is doing and city council is doing. This is history in the making. Goes into the minutes, goes on paper. As far as editing, I have affidavits that I signed for each tape directly after the meeting. The city of Fulton has officially hired me, and Town of Alany has officially hired me. Directly after each meeting, they get a copy of the exact tape that comes out of here. What's unique and nice about it is it can go into your historical society and be submitted into the historian for historian minutes of how government's been run in the past and in the future. I see it being a unique and a very well option for the towns and the cities. Actually, I think all the towns and cities should have this option of being able to have their meetings televised or archived in historian library. That's as far as I have to say.
Can I say something to you? When she hired you, don't you think it was appropriate, even for a matter of politeness, to come and say, look, a board member here has hired me to tape these proceedings. I'd like to know how the rest of your council feels. I'm not saying that you wouldn't be rejected, you wouldn't be. But the idea is this, to impose something on someone is a little different than asking something.
The impact is quite strong, of course. Nobody, I haven't run into a city or a town who has accepted it at first. It is a little bit of an impact. But it becomes to be natural after a while, and it becomes to be comfortable.
The only thing that I'm uncomfortable with, and I would, if they brought that up, I would vote for it.
Oh,
But the thing is,
God.
I don't care, you might be the nicest fellow in the world, and you probably are, because I don't know you, but the thing is, you can do things with that camera to benefit the people that paid for it. And don't tell me you can't.
All right, I make a motion, we make a motion right here to accept this, the town board, right now.
Okay, I second it.
You're gonna accept it?
I second it, I said.
Okay, how about you, Vince?
Oh, wait a minute now.
He called
You're
for it.
on the meeting here, wait a minute. You made a motion,
Well,
you seconded it, right?
Yeah.
You already had the discussion.
How about
Any
a
more
discussion?
discussion? Motion made and seconded, any discussion
I
on
got-
now, first of all, Rose, do we have a financial
What's the estimate?
value?
I think it's $600 a year, $52 a month. That's what I've been paying.
Well, you've only got a few months left to go.
Well, it would be, if the town is gonna be paying, if the town pays, that goes into tax exempt, so you have to exclude the tax.
Well, what I'm talking is,
Yeah, but what's your monthly charge?
Thanks.
$50 a meeting.
I think we need to discuss this somewhat. You don't mind, do you?
well, I guess they asked for discussion.
Well, he just says that Tony's bringing up about
Tony doesn't want it.
I'm just saying that, you know, as a matter of policy, isn't it nice to ask the other board members if they would object having this council meetings taped? You just don't barge in and say, I'm gonna do it whether you like it or not.
Why didn't you get Nellis and escort him out like they did in the legislation meeting?
Well, hold on, wait a minute. The whole point of it is, what you're asking is, the discussion is around whether or not the town board of Granby wants to employ an individual to videotape the meetings.
Right.
Then I presume that the videotape, I take it, is that the property of the towns?
Yes.
Yes, we pay for it.
Yes,
Videotape the property of the town?
The copy down here, you will receive a copy of
It-
what's exactly
The only
what's coming
copy?
in through here.
It is
That's the only one?
It is very useful
We got-
because
I'm
Dave
ma- I'm
borrowed
making
mine.
I'm making 2 tapes. The master is retained through me in my archives. And at Video World, where it is accessible for the public to rent at no charge. Another master tape, which is being recorded at the same time, will be the property of the town. And the town may do whatever it pleases with it. Put it in the archives. You can have it out for the public to view, but it's best to have it in the archives for
Future use.
future use and reference. Like the city of Fulton, they've used one of my tapes in court to save themselves from litigations from a closed-door meeting, and everything that was during the closed-door meeting was revealed during the next meeting, which the judge dismissed.
Well, the point is, I guess maybe what I'm concerned about, the only thing I'm looking at is you're talking about,
You got 6 months left.
$400 if you're taking it now, or you're gonna make it retroactive to when you had it, or what you're planning on doing. You're talking about from this day forward, paying for the videotaping? Is that what you're?
Or you can go for the physical budget year.
Well, we just have to finish out the rest of the year anyways, Joe, which would be May through December. And we'll worry about financing it next year, right? So you got 6 months or 5 months, what do we got?
Is
This
there
is
money,
the
enough
best.
money, can you appropriate enough money to hire this man?
If you tell me, we'll take it out of
Take it
the
out of-
budget someplace.
It's only
It'll come out of-
$300, right?
Because
come out of
in my heart, I want to feel that you're not going to be biased. That's why I
Oh,
vote
no,
for it.
I'm not. I'm actually working for the council and the public,
Well,
providing a service. So if you had a situation where a certain person, well, the situations that's been in the past, you'll be able to have access to see what exactly happened or who the person was that mentioned whatever.
does the person in the audience have a privilege of not being videotaped?
If the person wishes not to be videotaped, I do not have to put the camera on the person talking.
I think that should be a fair,
You can get up and leave.
well, not if you want to speak. Not if you want to speak, you don't have to be.
It's a public meeting, and if a person wishes to view his views or her views, it's of great importance, should be heard from either you people or the public.
But I'm just saying, with a person, if he desired not to be identified visually, physically.
There is a piece of machinery that I'm going to be purchasing very shortly where I can distort the face where you won't recognize the person.
So you have that option coming up.
They have that option.
Is that additional cost?
Not to you, only to me.
You know, the only thing that I was worried about, a lot of people will not get up and air their opinions because they feel that they're going to be on the camera, and they may be camera shy. That's why I felt that this should have been discussed by the board, not by one ruler, you know what I mean?
Well, okay,
That's all I care about.
are we satisfied with the discussion at this point?
I just got one question, Richard.
Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
only $400 left to pay for it for the rest of the year, am I correct? I was doing it in my head.
50 times
Ain't there 8 months left counting this month? 8 times 50 is 40? Oh, $400, right? So it's only $400 for the rest of this year, and you can worry about next year. Fine. Okay.
But this is the best, you see, this come off of my tape, the minutes this time, and you get everything from a tape. It's going to be good for the clerk's office.
Oh, we got a decent recorder now.
It's more, well, what I'm saying is,
Well, I guess maybe what something of it's not important right this moment.
well,
You got a motion
listen,
made,
if you
second,
people don't want to pay it, I wanted to do it, and I'll continue.
Jim, I want to make a comment. You look good though on this thing. I don't look so hot. I got this shiny head here that messes it up.
But I think the
You look
people of
good.
Granby should know what's going on.
The motion has been made and second. Any other discussion?
Yeah,
Well,
do
the
we
only
need a-
thing I can say about this camera is, at least Rosie won't be writing any more articles that only favor her. At least the camera portrays everybody on this board.
You know, Tony, you must hate me with a passion.
No, it's not
No
a
kidding.
question of hate.
It's
You-
politics,
you-
Rosie, it's politics.
Politics, I'm the only politician, I'm only the only
Excuse me.
person up here that's not a politician.
Once, if the town board does this.
Tony,
the town
you're a
board
joke.
Has the tape. Who will have control of the tapes? Will they still be loaned out, or will they just, you'll be here at?
Well, they got other ones. He has other ones.
I mean, the ones
There's
that
one
are
on
here.
file with the town clerk.
This will stay here, is that right?
Town clerk's office, right, Jim?
They'll stay
Historian
with
town
Mrs.,
clerk.
yeah,
They'll stay there.
the ones I've got, anybody
How
borrow.
long, excuse me, how good, what length of time are the tapes good for? For how many years? 10 years? 5?
Even more than that. They're
No
pretty
problem. Just one, okay.
Does there need to be a
Motion made.
contract written between your company and the town?
I can submit you a proposal of $50
If you're
for the
gonna do
meeting.
this, I think you should enter into an agreement in case the
Yeah.
town board decides not to do it, they can always rescind.
I think we should have an agreement, you know.
For the rest of the year, I would say.
Do you want to take and vote on the issue of considering a contract with a gentleman, or do you want to vote on the issue of you want to do it?
I want to do both. I just want a proposal for the rest of this year.
The motion, as I understand, is to allow the videotaping of the board meetings and paid by the board. Is that correct?
Correct.
I'm going to second to that, right? You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, now any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? None opposed, Madam Clerk.
Oh, your tongue's bleeding, Tony.
Now,
If
I'll
that's
just,
adopted tonight then, and the town board pays for that, you will have to submit a voucher, okay?
He knows how to do it.
Yeah, I submit the vouchers.
Yeah.
See how it works, Fred?
Jim, there.
Fred, does that mean we all have equal time now?
you got
Okay.
equal time.
Anybody else? Yes.
Got a couple of questions. Relative to the garage doors.
Yep.
Do you have that original quote?
Do I have the original quote?
You had an original quote last week, or
Yep.
last month?
Yeah.
And do you have that?
I don't have it right in my file here, but I got it.
Did you get an answer relative to the town obtaining materials from mines which are not legally permitted? In other words, they do not have a special use permit or DEC permit, one or the other or any of them, and therefore basically.
Whether they were permitted?
Pardon?
Whether the mines were permitted that we were buying material from?
Yes, they buy material from them if they're not permitted, basically they're operating illegally. Is the town allowed to buy material from illegal mining operations, in other words? Or do you have a process put in place to ensure that the town is not buying materials from illegal mining operations?
I haven't followed that up for him. I haven't followed it up. I
Are
had
we
some.
going to get an answer to that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. It was one of the questions you asked, and it got waylaid in my mind here.
The other question I got, just very quickly, one from Mr. Lund. Mr. Lund, you wrote that Country Acres, did you go down and verify that there was another trailer put on site there? Okay, and there was a new trailer there, correct? Okay. Which is a further extension of Country Acres, by the way. I just want to mention that. I believe it's a further extension. And one question for Wally. Wally, I've been told that you've been pursuing this particular situation, and I just wonder if you are continuing to pursue it.
I've been in touch with Claudia Pryor's lawyer, and it's his position that this is a prior existing use before zoning, and that the use has been grandfathered in, and that is their legal position. So until we get some affidavits, sworn statements, one way or the other, we never know for sure, because the question is always what the facts are. So I asked Ms. Pryor's attorney to get me as much information as he can, and if anybody knows of any information to the contrary, we will certainly accept that too.
Okay. So basically you're saying that they're under obligation to provide you with
No, I'm not saying
information?
that. No, I'm not saying that.
You've asked them for this information?
Yes.
So you're, are you just basically sitting and waiting now for them to respond to you? Or are you actively pursuing a response from them?
What do you mean by actively pursuing?
Well, are you, let's put it this way, it was in October that the town of Granby stated that they were in violation relative to having more than 4 units there. And since that time, I assume you've been in touch with them. And I'm wondering if you're continuing to pursue to be in touch with them. I think since last October, it's been kind of a lengthy time.
We don't have any factual evidence that they are in violation.
Okay.
We have somebody's statement that their opinion that they're in violation.
I see.
But in order for the town to proceed on an enforcement case, we would have to have a sworn statement stating facts in a non-hearsay manner.
Okay.
That would show that they're in violation.
Would you like to have
Their
would you like to have
position is that they are not in violation, and
Can I interrupt just a moment? This, I don't mean to be, don't take me wrong in this, but I'd like to have the request made to the board, and then we'll get the answers. I have a problem with across the room conversations. I'll take and monitor them if you don't mind, only to just take and keep some direction. Because you can go on for a long time about yes and no's and ands. I can get the answer for the question at my request. So if you'll direct the questions here, I'll get the answer for them. I may be cumbersome, but I think it'd be better.
Okay, I guess the question that I'm asking, do you need someone to provide you with affidavits and proof as to what existed there? And then the town will pursue it? Or I assumed that based on the written information that was provided to me, that the town was pursuing it and that they had enough information.
Yeah. The request that I have copies of the letter of the conversation or the letters to the people on the property. And the last one was about, I don't know, about 45 days ago, the last time I saw a letter on it. And it was relative to the fact that that Mr. Boadr was requesting they provide him with the documentation to support their position.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how we'll get beyond that point. We'll expedite that, answer that question. So
Okay.
I'm aware of it now. We'll just ask to have it done.
You're gonna
Okay.
ask to have, to expedite that, is what
Yep.
you're saying. Okay,
I mean, it's easier for you to test and ask me what you want. I can handle that part.
okay.
Okay?
But what I want the board to understand is that any kind of an enforcement, that you can't proceed without having a sworn statement in front of you that shows that there's a violation.
Well, right at this moment, what you have is a complaint has been addressed to the situation, and you have discussed the situation in one manner or another through either Steve's office or yours, with the representation of the people on the property, and you've come to the point where you're asking for them to show you the documentation that proves their position of grandfather.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Then we'll go from there. Anybody else?
But, but for your information, that, again, in order to bring somebody else into court,
I understand. I know, I wasn't asking for it. I understand.
we would need some affirmative evidence that they're in violation.
I understand that. I wasn't
Not
asking
just
for
a
it.
failure
I
to
just,
prove.
I
Okay.
understand.
All right.
I mean, I understand what we gotta do. Anybody else before I close? Yes, Steve?
Yeah, I've got a quick one I've been wanting to ask the board for some time. I've got a problem issuing building permits, or I think it's a problem anyway, for minor jobs. The New York State Building Code requires building permits to be issued for decks and accessory buildings and repairs. And I think the problem I have in that office is that people have to pay $40 minimum. Maybe it's not practical, but I think it would be nice for me, it'd be easier anyway, and I think you might get more people to come in if you had a minor type of permit, or a minor construction permit. I'm not quite sure how you'd word it, or maybe for repairs. I know in Fulton we have a permit called repairs to existing facilities, and it's like $20 or $25.
Suggestion is that another category to take into account for a payment for a permit that would reflect something in moving a window or something like that, right?
Exactly. Somebody's gonna fix stuff, it's gonna cost $100, and you charge them $40, which is 40% of that for the...
Fee adjustment for something minor, okay. Okay,
Another quick question.
go ahead.
Another quick question. There was a double-wide trailer that was parked out here in a parking lot last week. Can you explain what that was doing here?
The code enforcement officers of the state of New York were here to learn how to make proper adjustment to a foundation or whatever when they're placing them. This come out. What we had happening in New York City, we had a demonstration of, or I won't say a demonstration, we had a program that was put on about the HUD code on modular or mobile placement on properties, and how sometimes the HUD code called for foundation supports in some place or the other, in some place, and some local building inspector said someplace else. The building's quality is only maintained by the fact that it follows the HUD code. And a request made of the town to put on a demonstration for zoning officer, building permit people to illustrate that.
Can I ask Mr. Lund a question?
Pardon?
I quickly asked you if I can ask Mr. Lund a question, he answered my question.
Yeah, Don, I'm sorry, Don.
Jim, I'd like to extend a thank you to Ray Marshall for a couple things. First, the rabies clinic May 5th. It was a great success. He put a lot of energy and effort into the situation. A lot of people showed up, approximately 450 people. The other thing is I've talked to a lot of people around the town, and they want to extend a thank you to Ray for the job he and his people have done this past winter. It's been a hell of a winter, and he's done a hell of a job, and his people have too. The other thing I want to bring up is that as of next Tuesday, we'll return to the tax rolls over $100,000 of assessed property that's been delinquent, and has been in the hands of the county for the last 5 years, and I think that's significant. A lot of these people have basically left the state. I've been in contact with their relatives. The property is being transacted, and I executed some documents today to get these properties back on the tax rolls. Thank you.
Is that just in Granby?
Just in Granby.
Anybody else before I close? Okay, I motion to
I'll
adjourn.
make a motion, we adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The preceding program was not a New Channels production, and New Channels has no responsibility for the content or opinions expressed therein.